I mean, again, just getting used to, or like choosing repertoire that, you know, we found compelling, but then would also work as a full program. You know, very early on in the organization, we realized that just by nature of like the instruments we play too, we occupy a very large footprint on a stage, and we were playing very small stages at that point in time. And we had to be really careful about the repertoire that we were selecting based on that instrumentation. I think one of the first gigs that we did, we ended up like bringing 4 large 5-octave marimbas so we could play like one piece of repertoire on those 4 5-octave marimbas, which was one of the largest instruments that we play generally. And so we realized that that was maybe something that we should consider not doing in the future. So, but I mean, it wasn't all just logistical. It was also there was aesthetics involved, and just, you know, like again finding the art that was most compelling to us. But very early on, I think we made a decision that we really wanted to be able to craft a concert performance that was like sculpted as a concert performance and had a pacing and had an energy and a flow to it, and it wasn't just here's a piece, pause, people clap. Here's a piece, pause, people clap. We didn't want to do that. We wanted to have something that flowed from beginning to end. And that still, I think, is something that is really important to us when we're thinking about repertoire, when we're thinking about putting a concert production together.
Yeah, and you know, percussion ensembles are a relatively young genre in this classical music tradition, so there's not a lot of like standard repertoire that's like really well established. If you're starting a string quartet, obviously you have hundreds of years of repertoire you can choose from that presents its own challenges in terms of making your programming choices. But for us, I think over time, a lot of our repertoire has been defined by the projects that we develop ourselves. You know, it's the music that we have commissioned, music that we've written. But at the beginning, before we had all that music, there's a little bit of more standard repertoire, pieces that have been played a lot over decades, but only by really a handful of composers. And so making choices about those things and finding the repertoire that we felt really passionate about is one of the challenges when we were first getting started. We also didn't really own that many instruments when we got started, so we were trying to just work with what we had or what we had access to that we could borrow from the university where we were in school or teaching, and we didn't necessarily have the budget to rent a van or a truck to move instruments. So at one point we were moving 4 5-octave marimbas in our personal sedans, which was challenging.